Hey everybody, it's Alex Miller at Capnion here. A great question for parlor room debate and a great way to make people anxious these days is AI better at things than people? And, if not, is it going to be soon? I think the real short answer is no, but I'm going to put some markers down on both sides, and I hope you'll recognize them as a little bit non standard. I think the issue has maybe been framed in kind of a silly way. So I guess I would get started by saying I make these videos primarily for LinkedIn. I will often see on LinkedIn someone resharing a link to an article and they'll say this article found that AI does things better than people, and then when I try to read the article, this is not what the article says, and this is just the general mis and disinformation hellscape of social media. Saying that scary AI is better than you is just what travels, and people don't really read the article. So be skeptical. I think it's still quite true that ChatGPT is not really going to replace a human expert serviceably anytime soon. More broadly, I think it's pretty interesting. Well, how are AIs different from people? It's not like we're exactly the same creature. First, what is the point here? AI, I think, to an interesting degree, is an engineering success without a lot of good theoretical underpinnings, you might say. What are we even really trying to accomplish here? People talk about this thing, the artificial general intelligence. Well, they don't really know what that is. That's not very well defined. It's kind of one of these cases like the famous Larry Flint Supreme Court case. Well, I'll know it when I see it. It's sort of motivated by we want to have these qualities that humans have, but then do we really know what human cognition is like? What human consciousness is like? We don't have a great sense of that either. So it's all these people chasing a thing that they don't know what it is. And I think more than you might naively think, there's a lot of reason in that situation to kind of be skeptical of how super duper cool and super close to a person it could all get. That being said, I'm going to give a link to an article. Thanks to Maxwell Peterson for referring me to this. I think this is a great take of, like people that are not paying attention are not artificial general intelligences. And I think it's pretty important and noteworthy. I know I see it all the time in my practical day to day grind. AI is not as good, but people that are not paying attention are not that great either. And AI is always paying attention, whereas people usually are not. So, for example, LinkedIn is dominated by recruiters, really. That's the bread and butter from a business standpoint of what LinkedIn does. I'm on here trying to start conversations with people, and that's a little weird. And people tend to sleepwalk through things that are a little bit weird and unexpected. So I will often send somebody a link like, "Hey, did you read this article?" And they will say, "Well, the job I'm looking for is like this, and you should try to find me this kind of job." And if I didn't say that, and there's really nothing about anything about how I present myself on LinkedIn that would suggest I'm a recruiter, nor am I hiring. But people just kind of expect that, and they're just not really responding to information. They think they already know what's going on, and they're sleepwalking. And one thing that is great about AI, from a standpoint of you're just looking for something to communicate with you or communicate with someone else effectively, is that it's always paying attention. So is AI better than people? I'm going to kind of cut this two ways. If people are paying attention, educated people paying attention, AI is not even close. If you've got people that they missed a lot of sleep and they don't like their job and they're not paying attention, they're just sleepwalking and phoning it in, AI is a lot better right now. And I think that's a really interesting and important weird dichotomy of, I mean, the answer is very much both yes and no at the same time, and how AI differs from us qualitatively versus just being quantitatively better or worse is a really interesting and important part of that story, and I wouldn't be shocked if it got more important.